Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be learning about the volume, how to calculate the volume of prisms and cylinders. So first let's just talk about what a prism is versus a cylinder. So a prism is a 3D shape with two parallel and congruent bases, and those bases are polygons. If you look at the description here of a cylinder, it's also a 3D shape with two parallel and congruent bases. However, these bases are circular. Since these shapes have so much in common, their volume formulas are essentially the same. The formula is volume equals capital B times H, where capital B stands for area of the base and H stands for the height. But we can take a little bit of a shortcut when we have a cylinder because we'll be working with cylinders that have circular bases. We know area of a circle is pi r squared, so we can use the volume formula V equals pi r squared H. Okay, so we're going to now practice some questions where we calculate the volume of prisms and cylinders. So you will need your calculator for this, so let's grab that. Okay, I'm going to put mine off to the side here. All right, so let's take a look at sample question 1. We're going to find the volume of the rectangular prism. Since the word in front of prism is rectangular, that also tells us the base is a rectangle. That will help us when we go and fill in capital B. So the area of the base is 8 times 3 in this case. The height is 6. So in my calculator, I'm going to multiply those, and I get that volume is 144. Anytime we find volume, our units are always cubed, so our units are centimeters cubed in this example. Number 2, find the volume of the cylinder in terms of pi. So for any of the cylinder questions, I'm going to use the shortcut formula of V equals pi r squared H. I can see in this example that the radius is 4 and the height is 9. When we're asked to find it in terms of pi, that means pi should be in our answer, which means don't type that into the calculator. So in my calculator, I am only going to type in 4 squared times 9. Coincidentally, I also got 144 on this. And I'm going to say my answer is 144 pi centimeters cubed. Okay, so again, anytime it's in terms of pi, just don't put that in the calculator. All right, number 3. Find the volume of a cube that has edges of 6 inches. So a cube is a type of rectangular prism. Okay, if we want to try and draw out what a cube looks like, we certainly can. All of the sides are congruent squares. And if the edges are 6 inches, that's everything is 6 inches, and it's going to look something like this. Okay, so again, in a cube, we could put tick marks on every single segment there. They're all equal. So since it's a type of rectangular prism, I'm going to use our prism formula. Any type of prism would use that formula, by the way. Area of the base is going to be 6 times 6. And our height is also 6. So I'm going to multiply 6 by 6 by 6, and I get the volume to be 216 inches cubed. For number 4, find the volume of a cylinder with a diameter of 4 inches and a height of 10 inches rounded to the nearest hundredth. So notice that we're given the diameter of 4, so that means our radius is 2. So always look out for that on cylinder questions, that they might give you the diameter instead. So I'm going to plug 2 in for the radius, 10 in for the height. And this problem does not say in terms of pi. This one says round, so I will be putting pi in my calculator here. And when we round to the nearest hundredth, that's 2 decimal places. So I got that volume is 125.66, and our units are inches cubed. All right, let's continue looking at some more sample questions. Number 5, we have another rectangular prism. In this picture, the measurements are given to us a little bit different. So keep in mind that rectangles have opposite sides that are congruent. So if that's 4 inches, so is this. That also means this is 4 inches. This is 3 inches. Like, we can fill in all of these missing values. So when I go find area of the base, it's going to be 4 times 3. The height is 10, and when I multiply that, I'm going to get 120 inches cubed for my volume. Number 6, find the volume of the triangular prism. And there's a hint here that a triangular prism has triangular bases. Whenever you are doing triangular prisms, always keep in mind that the picture might not put the bases on the actual bottom. Like the base of this shape is the bases are these triangles. That's not actually what the shape is laying on. So just keep that in mind that the bases do not have to be top and bottom. We're going to go off the wording, so in this case, triangular, and also knowing that the bases of a prism are congruent and parallel. Okay, and that's the case for these triangles here. So it's still the same formula, capital B times H. To find the area of a triangle, it's 1/2 base times height. So look at that triangle there. So that would be 1/2 of 5 times 6. The height of the whole prism is 11. So when you're looking for H, you're looking from base to base. And you can see here, connecting the bases is 11. And then we're going to put this all in our calculator. So I have 0.5 times 5 times 6 times 11. You could type in 1/2, by the way, instead of 0.5. And I have that my volume is 165 centimeters cubed. Number 7, back to cylinders here. We're going to use our shortcut formula, pi r squared h. We are clearly given the radius and we're clearly given the height. And we're asked to round here. So rounding means pi is going in our calculator. Always hit the actual pi button. Don't do 3.14. And we're rounding this time to the nearest 10th. So when we do that, we are looking at the place after the decimal. So that's 7. The number to the right of it is greater than 5 or 5 or greater. So we are going to round up. So this volume is 150.8 inches cubed. Number 8, in rectangle math, MH is 1 inch. So I'm just going to label that in my picture. MA is 4. And we know that's a rectangle, by the way, so I'm just going to label the opposite sides too. If the rectangle is continuously rotated about side MH, what is the volume of the solid formed to the nearest cubic inch? When we are rotating a 2D shape, which is the rectangle here, we're going to get a 3-dimensional shape if we rotate it. It's called a solid of revolution. So imagine it being rotated. It almost looks like a reflection at first. And it is going to look like a cylinder here. So I am going to find the volume of this cylinder that was formed. I can see that the radius of this cylinder is 4, and I can see that the height is 1. Okay, so the height is how tall it is from base to base, and I'm going to put that in the calculator. We're rounding to the nearest cubic inch, so I got 50 inches cubed. Number 9, ABC Cookie Company is looking at different size boxes to package their cookies in. They have 2 options, option A, option B. Which option has the largest volume? All right, I'm just going to fill in these quotations here as well. So that's going to be our inches measurement. So option A is going to be 6 times 4 times 2.5. If you've ever done volume of a rectangular prism as length times width times height, that's also fine, and that's what I'm using here. So that has measurement of 60. B is going to be 10 by 3 by 1.5. And that's 45. So we're looking for which one has the larger volume. So option A has the larger volume. Okay, and we can also add the units in here too. All right, for our last question here, a cylinder has a volume of 180.6 inches cubed and a diameter of 10 inches. Find the height to the nearest tenth of an inch. Okay, so this one's a little different. Looks like we're going to have to do some algebra here. So I know I'm talking about volume of a cylinder, so I'm just going to start by writing that formula. And I'm going to plug in anything that I know. So I know the volume is 180.6. I know the radius is 5. right? If the diameter is 10, the radius is 5, and I don't know the height, that's what we're looking for. So I have to do a little bit of algebra here to solve to get h by itself. So everything on the right-hand side, the pi, the 5 squared, the h, those are all being multiplied together. So if we have to undo that and get h by itself, we have to do some division. If you wanted to simplify the 5 squared to 25, by the way, that's completely fine. And when I do that over here, the pi's are going to be eliminated, the 5s and the squares are going to be eliminated because that's just going to give us 1. And now we just have to put this in our calculator. Anytime your denominator is a little complicated and there's multiple things in it, multiple elements, like this just has pi and 5 and squared, there's a lot going on, I would always just stack your fractions. So to do that, you're going to hit the alpha button and y equals choice 1. And that goes for these TI calculators here. So now I'm going to type it in exactly the way that it looks on my iPad here. And I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. So to the nearest tenth, that looks like 2.3 inches is going to be my height. Okay, hopefully this lesson taught us about how to find the volume of prisms and cylinders.